Ferrymead Community Board. Sarah, welcome. Again, no Part A reports.
No, it's unusual.
I know, but
First time this year.
But a very busy meeting all the same.
Yes, we have plenty of busy meetings. I'm just draw your attention to the fact that 1.3 Peterborough Village Neighbourhood Committee presented a deputation to us on the alignment of skirt works, and I see that there's a supplementary for today's meeting on that, and I'd like to encourage as much community engagement over that process as possible, and yeah, it's something that we as a community board have expressed concern a few times about alignment of skirt work with other issues that are happening and planned to lower the amount of disruption to residents rather than having streets done up twice to try and to lower that. That would be really good. If we could have all of the Salisbury Street work done at the same time rather than just enabling works, that would be even better. I'm not quite sure how possible that is though.
Well, it's challenging because of the issue that we've got on the agenda today. Have you guys been engaged in any sort of discussion with staff over the report that's on the agenda today?
No, we haven't. The first I've seen of it was at morning tea break.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
All right. So that might be something that we need to address. Yep. There are other items that you want to refer to?
Just briefly, actually, it's something that has happened around the meeting times, and it's just the flood issues like several other wards, and it's not actually on our agenda. It was discussed at the previous meeting, and then there have been floods during that time. Really looking forward to the task force report, and it's really good to see quite a lot of work happening in some areas already in our ward, which is good. Lots of cleaning out of culverts and drains, in Heathcote especially, which has been really good, and residents there really appreciate that. What would be really good though is there are a lot of times that the community are not aware that work's going on, and I had several people say to me, oh, you know, we had our big flood meeting after the March floods and nothing's happened, and look, we're flooding again. And work had happened in some areas. Some of the immediate stuff that had been raised at that meeting had been done, but people weren't aware of it, and so they're like, you know, it's that council aren't doing anything for us, but there had been some work done on Port Hills Road that was effective in stopping the flooding down that street. That did carve out a big hole. There'd been some work down by Cook's Lane. There'd been some in a couple of places, and I'm thinking that while the staff themselves who are working on the task force are extremely busy, it would be really nice to have someone from comms tagged to that, not just for the official report, but for communications with communities over to the ongoing work. Yeah. So, for example, a digger turned up to one of the box culverts and started clearing it out, but no one was quite sure what work was happening, what was going to happen with it, how far they were going. That kind of stuff would be really useful for communities to know. Yeah. So they can
more like the way Skirt operates with notices, you know, that...
It doesn't have to be that formal even.
Okay.
But yeah, it doesn't have to be that formal because that takes more time and planning, and a lot of these works are happening at short notice as people, you know, especially with the floods happening. But some sort of way of either sending to community boards to forward to their communities or something like that would be really useful. Yeah, okay, no, that's good. Paul, then Glenn.
I just wanted to actually make an acknowledgement to staff around some of the work they've been doing, in particular Mike Lurley. Yanni and I met up with Mike just a day ago, and he had ECAN down there, he had our contractors, they were walking around the streets looking at the issues in particular and discussing historical information with the residents, and I think with the work that we've actually seen happen in Activate since he's been down there, it's been quite significant, and I just want to make an acknowledgement to our staff on that.
Well, I mean, can I acknowledge both of you, Paul and Yanni? I mean, the feedback that I had in terms of, you know, literally door knocking some of the residents, getting them to come out and listen to you know, the guys while they were there. I mean, it's great. It's great communication, and it's, yeah, I mean, we're going to improve as we go, but it's just such a tremendous effort of everyone involved. I've got, who is next? Glenn and then Yanni.
Thank you. Just a question for Jane, if I may, just bullet point 1, page 56. Jane, over the skirt project in relation to the seawall, is that still on pause? It'd be good just to know whether that's still proceeding.
I can answer. We had a briefing last night from staff on that with regard to the seawall. They have got they had worked quite closely with the people who are against the seawall. There has been some resolution and something will probably come back to this council to have a look at.
Yes, that's as I understand it. There's some good financial information now and council can make a choice what they want to do. Is that right?
It sort of comes down to the changes they've made actually addresses a number of their concerns. The issue for me last night raises that they are looking at putting a wall back which will create some resilience, or can in future create some resilience from sea level rise. Now whether that's actually, when there was a wall there before, in my view some of that cost, that is an increasing cost to this new design, may well be in actual fact putting back what was there before. So I think there needs to be some discussion with our alliance partners on that to see if we can get them to, rather than reviewing that all is betterment, I don't believe it is all betterment. I believe some of it is actually replacing back what was there. So a bit of work to be done there.
Yanni, do you...
It was just a concern of the Heathcote Estuary Etai Trust that the hydrological modelling hadn't been carried out. So that research unit, part of that trust, is accessing some information from NIWA to inform that. So yeah, it's been quite...
I don't know about that. I'm aware of what Paul's just told us. So.
That work has not been carried out, and it does raise an interesting question about how people can get consent to do works in waterways without understanding the hydrological effects. So that is something that really we should be raising with ECAN, because the community are quite concerned that, there doesn't appear to be any modelling. But just wanted to pick up on Paul's point. So there's a clients governance group over Skirt. We're one partner, there's two others. So they obviously can outvote us on things. And this really is, I think, a bit of an issue around putting back what was there. And as we understand it, the two other clients don't want to pay for the compromised solution. They want us to pick up the extra cost. What we heard at Community Board, and which I think we've asked for a little bit more information, is that we can't understand why this shouldn't be treated as putting back like for like. It seems really simple to us that basically the depth of the channel before the earthquake was like this. The Skirt had initially proposed to reduce it, like that, and the community said no, that doesn't give us enough clearance for what we used to do. So we've come up with a compromise to lower it. So they're still getting less than what that depth than they had before at a compromised solution, but we're being told that we have to come and fund betterment. So, I think there's some issues there we just need to work through.
Yeah.
But can I just touch on the flooding?
So does that come back to council for a decision?
Well, it probably will.
I'm getting nods
which
from
is
everywhere.
a shame that it can't just get on and get it done, because that delays it for another few months. But because those two other clients won't agree, I guess
Yeah, but I'd rather
have
have a report in front of me with all of the detail in it before I say just get on with it. So
no, but the report will be asking, it will come back to Community Board and then come to Council.
for what? What
For
would be,
approval of design and probably with a request for extra funding.
but will we know whether we can go back to Skirt and dispute the funding split at that point?
You need to ask the acting chief.
No, what will come here will be a recommendation, correct, Terry, after it's been through a process of agreeing what component, and there will be a component putting back what was there and what's the extra bit. That'll be in front of you when you get asked to make the decision.
But if you, in the meantime, could see, well, if somebody, perhaps Terry, could find out whether there was, there is a way that we could, I don't know if there's a dispute resolution mechanism within Skirt where we can challenge the decision about the cost split, because it would be NZTA, wouldn't it, in that case?
What we'll do, we'll take a simple report back from scope and studies. That will make a call, and then if there's a disagreement there, it goes to the whole of the infrastructure.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
I just wanted to quickly touch on the flooding, just to put it, acknowledge the work that staff are doing. I think we need to be really mindful that we've had meetings in Sumner and in Wolston and in Heathcote. People are really stressed, and this is really quite a hard time for many people in our community. including our staff who have been working around the clock,
Yep.
weekends, after hours, and at evenings to understand the scale of the problem. I think we need to accept that this is a huge problem, the flooding and storm issues that we're facing. And, you know, I think everyone's really eager to get the first lot of information from the task force, but there will be an ongoing need, I think, to resource the work to keep continuing. So one of the things that we're really keen to do at a local level is to go back after we've got that initial information, re-engage with our communities to check in about some of the solutions, some of the timeframes, and then look at, you know, are there other things we should be considering? Have we got the information right? So this will be an ongoing process, but certainly the task force is a really good initiative, and I think it's giving people a lot of hope that we are taking these issues seriously. There will be a lot of learnings that come out of perhaps a little bit of looking back at what has or hasn't happened and how we improve going forward as well, which we just need to be prepared for.
Yep. So I assume Jani Johansson and Paul Lonsdale are moving and seconding the report. Pauline.
It's really important to note that I see the Washington Way skate park opening in your minutes, and I think that
Oh, I think we should
Council should
applaud Jani Johansson. If it wasn't for Washington Park Skateway,
Jani's been
we
trying to
wouldn't
find
have
us.
Jani on the council.
Basically, but actually it's the community board. The community board over 20 years ago
I know.
actually said to council, we see an opportunity for a skate ramp, I think, in this place, and obviously there's been a lot of skateboarders, people like Andy Wiley, people like Kevin Grimwood, many others in recent times that have contributed to getting this project done. So, you know, I think it's really important to acknowledge that without the local community board seeing the opportunity, this wouldn't have happened. So the community board's really the one that deserves the applause.
Yeah.
And, you know, unfortunately, but sadly, people like Liz McCrosty who have passed away, actually she was a sitting member when she passed away, but who really focused on providing more green space, more recreational opportunities for young people in our ward who were really conscious of the fact that we needed to do more. So it's great to see that has come to fruition.
Yeah, I shared a picture of a skateboard park that Jim Deers put on his website on Facebook with you. So I hope you've seen it.
The other thing that we've already heard is that very soon after it being opened, that already people are coming internationally to come and see it. So actually quite high profile people have come. It's a real attraction for the city, and we should be really proud of it.
Phil.
Look, I'm just mindful of the fact that a few years ago, an area of delegation was taken away from the Hagley Ferrymead Community Board. And I think it's really important in terms of our workload as a council too, that we look at how in fact delegations can be re-extended for Hagley Ferrymead, but also other community boards. And that's perhaps an example, and that might not be might be other examples though, Sarah, which as a board you can discuss and think through and let us know about. Because I think we have to be very mindful of how, in fact, we extend delegations to community boards as soon as possible. So,
Yep.
Thank you.
All right, I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye. Those opposed say no. Carried. Thank you. And we'll go back to item number 7, the